Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Mookake's Let's Play Minecraft. With you again is Bill, and we're going to set off on an adventure today. I'm a little stocked up here. I've got fresh diamond armor on me. I actually have a bed with me, all kinds of random food. and I'm actually going to replace that there. I want to find a mushroom biome. A mushroom biome? Mushrooms are the mushroom cow like thingies. No, I want to find a mushroom biome and play with mushrooms and all that fun stuff. Honestly, I just want some mycelium. I think the stuff is kind of cute. Um, I don't see me setting up a base, but I will capture coordinates if I ever find one of these places, and I will set up a portal to get back to it. Um, I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty hard quest, considering they are so rare, and we'll see what happens. But I'm going out here to the original exploration boat. If you guys remember, this is the boat I took to get to this island here. So, this will be the boat I use to take us away. And we're going to go around this way. And whee! So yeah, this is going to kind of be a semi-boring episode that I'll probably cut out some of the stuff with. Um, but it's something I've wanted to do, and I didn't want to just like pop in a video and be like, "Look, guys, I found a mushroom biome." I wanted to be able to get to the mushroom biome and say, "Yay! Look what I got!" Oh goodness, good times. Whee! Just went and got my oil changed on my car. I was a little due for that. And I go to this place I always go to. The prices are reasonable. Um, the service is pretty good. But it's one of those places that always tries to sell you something that you probably don't need. Um, so I always have to like, no guys, it's all right, it's all right. And every time I go, it's something different too. I can maintain a car pretty well. I know how to do quite a bit. I can change my own oil, as a matter of fact, but quite frankly, it costs just as much to go to this place as it does to get all the oil that I need. Thank you, oil prices. So, anyways, I go and I'm sitting there, and the first thing they come at me with is they don't have filters for my vehicle on hand. My vehicle is a popular vehicle. It's a Honda CRV, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal to find to get filters for that, to have them in stock. So they had to call and get filters. And whatever, they were like, we're so sorry," and I was cool. I'm like, I've worked retail before and everything. I understand. They have a service that they call. I think they have a contract with one of the local places in town that sells auto parts, and it's easy for them to get replacements. So they're like, it's just going to be a little bit longer, and that's great. I'm never one of the guys that asks for compensation for that kind of stuff. Like, I demand 10% off because I had to wait an extra 5 minutes. So it wasn't. This isn't a Jiffy Lube that I go to. It's not. We'll be done in 10 minutes, and there you go. Um, so yeah. So they tell me that, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll wait. I'm waiting, and oh, the one of the funny parts is they were like, when you get there, like, "Have you brought this vehicle here before?" I'm like, "Yep, sure have. Come here all the time. This will be my second or third trip with this vehicle." I had some brake work done there as well. And like, "Okay, great." Well, then the guy comes back to me and says, Did they give you a different license plate number?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I just had my plates renewed. They gave me a brand new plate and gave me a brand new license plate number." "Oh, okay. Well, normally, but we're able to find you, but we can't find you because you got a new, like, he was accusing me of purposefully getting a different license plate number just to ruin his day in finding my vehicle in their system. And I was just like, really? it's not my fault they gave me one. I'm not in control of the BMV here. They just sent me new plates. I just renewed my plates and like, here, have a new one. Okay, great. Wow, this is the most ocean I've ever seen. It's going to be a big map when it's all said and done. Anything around me? Nothing around me. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. So they do the oil change. They get the filter there. They do the oil change. La di da. They fill all the other fluids up, and the cheap ones, windshield washer fluid, that kind of stuff. So great, happy joy. Then I see him kind of dig around and get this contraption out that I've never seen before. Like I said, I've been here several times with several different vehicles. And again, they always like to sell stuff to you. One time I took my now ex-wife's car in, and they wanted to sell me a an air filter. And I'm always like, okay, what's the price? Because air filter. If I can do it right there, great. Like, oh, it's going to be like an extra $30 for an air filter. $30 for an air filter? Seriously, no. I mean, unless that air filter is made of solid gold and sings to me while I'm driving, you can get cheaper air filters. Probably the same brand that they use for cheaper. So I see him get this contraption out of my vehicle, and I notice that it's got clamps on it, so they're going to test my battery. I'm like, now they've never tested my battery ever before. I don't know what would make them think to test my battery. My vehicle is an '07 CRV. It's not that old, a couple years old. It's got some miles on it, but it's in great shape. Hondas run forever. So I'm just like, what's going on? So he he proceeds to test the battery. Comes in, gives me this little receipt, and hold on, I have the receipt in my pocket still, which is just fantastic. It's a receipt from the tester, and it's from a popular battery brand that they're probably contracted through. So it's got the name of that battery brand, and then it says they're supposed to enter in their shop information. Instead, it just says your shop name, 1000 any street, your town, your state, zip code, country, and then it gives like I think an 800 number for this company. Technician, Tech 1, and then it has this little chart of like battery results and the voltage and the temperature and this little gauge that somehow indicates it's time to replace your battery. So it says battery replacement highly recommended, test code blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm like, I'll bite, why not? Now understand that I used to work it at I used to work at Walmart many, 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 many years ago, and at one point in time, I ran their automotive department. Not the big tire and lube express things that they have where they change oil, but back in the day, before the big super gross WalMarts, when they were little WalMarts, they just had a regular automotive department that sold everything you see in one now, except for tires and all those services. But I sold batteries, so I know how much batteries cost. I know the basics of batteries. I used to install batteries. So I know my way around this. But I'm like, okay, I'll bite. They're like, all right, do you think you're interested in maybe replacing your battery today? It's stock battery that's in there. It's running low on juice, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, what's something like that run me? He's like, it'd be about 100 on the nose. And I'm like, $100 for a battery. And he's like, well, it's an interstate battery. I'm like, okay, well, that's good company. I'm like, that's a good battery. But I don't think so. Well, I'll give you 15% off. So it'll be right around 95. And I'm like, instantaneously, I'm like, I know math. 15% of 100, 10%'s gonna be $10 off. So what are you doing here, buddy? So he's like, well, these things are suggested retail like 120, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, no, I'll be all right without. If I really need a battery that bad, I'll go pick one up from one of the other places in town. The place where I can get air filter for less than $30. Well, those batteries don't last as long. And granted, he's right. Those batteries that they have there are really good batteries, and I won't argue that fact. They're some of the highest quality batteries out there. But for $100, I just don't have $100 to spend on a battery for my car right now. And bottom line, my car still starts and has no problem starting. And it's not like I sit around with the engine off, with the radio on, or something like that, burning through juice. I'm not too worried about it. I will probably replace the battery before winter, but I'm just like $100 for the battery. That would have been like $150 trip or something for me at that place alone. Not really. My oil change wasn't $50, but still, it's, I don't know. Always trying to sell something. All I want is a damn oil change. And they'll get you on windshield wipers too. My front wipers are bad. Thankfully, they didn't look or didn't bother to tell me or something. I don't know. Windshield wipers are not expensive. You can get those ridiculously expensive ones if you want to. Ones that I don't know. I have no idea. I just, but they'll tell you, oh, your windshield wipers are bad. We can replace those for you. Those will be $40, or whatever they charge. I'm just like, no, stop it. The only thing that they're on about is their oil change price. Like I said, they top off all the fluids, they check your tires, do all that fun stuff, which is great, and it's a reasonable price in my mind. This is the biggest ocean ever. Sweet Lord. I have never been on this much water ever before. Um, wow. So there's my oil change story for the day. The oil change didn't take that long, thankfully, and after arguing about, what I want. And again, the service is great. The guy trying to help me was very friendly. I have no problems with that. I'm gonna go back. I'll keep going back until they raise their prices on me or something stupid like that as far as the oil change goes. Hey, a jungle biome. First sight of land, anyways. But yeah, he actually still gave me a card for 15% off. Maybe I should let this load a little bit. 15% off my next service of any kind. So if I do go back and decide that, gosh, I really do want to pay $100 for a battery, I'll get it. Whatever. But I'd get, sorry, I had to get a drink there. I'd get 15% off at least. That's not going to be something I can go through there, I don't think. So let's go around this way. Um, so at least my next oil change is going to be a little bit cheaper, which I'm okay with. It's fantastic. I appreciate their service, great stuff, um, good good people. They actually just got under new ownership, which is good, or new management at least. The other manager that worked there was a piece of crap. Um, his techs are great. The techs that work there are great. This person was just not a good person. You're gonna make me have to cross land. I can feel it already. Yep. All right. We shall get off of this guy then. I'm gonna have to build another boat anyways. So yeah, there's my oil change story. At least I don't have to do it again for another couple months. Oh, and for those of you out there that are strict, I change my oil every 3 months kind of folks. Um, and you can argue with me on this if you want to. Again, I know a little bit about cars. Um, I used to enjoy old vehicles and keeping them in running condition. Older vehicles, even with the newer oils out there, yes, I would suggest replacing your oil every 3 months. If you have the original engine and a lot of original parts, yeah, go right ahead every 3 months. Be safe because that thing's probably, your bread and butter and you want to keep it in good running condition. Really? Love hearing zombies on the surface. So yeah, you'll want to keep that in running condition, so do 3 months. But the newer vehicles and newer oils, newer engines, I go by the mileage over um, the time. For example, I still do it every 3,000 miles, but I need some wood for another boat. I didn't bring a workbench either. Um, so, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I always go by the mileage now instead, so every 3,000 miles for me. Now, I don't travel that much. At all, actually. I drive back and forth to work. I got the CRV for me and the dogs when I do travel. Just more room for them because at any given time I've got two dogs, if not three. Um, and since I'm not really a drinker, it pays to have a bigger vehicle to be the DD for your friends. Yes, that's me. I'm Mr. Sensitive Ponytail Man, and I'm the DD for my friends. Not all the time. I still haven't listened back to my other videos. I hope this music volume's not loud. It sounds loudish in my headphones. So I'm going to turn it down just a bit again. But yeah, so I don't drive very far, so it takes me months to get to the 3,000 mile mark, and I've been fine. I don't see any issues with it. I might be the exception. Who knows? But like I said, I know a hair about vehicles, enough to be dangerous. Newer vehicles nowadays, it's not about the engine; it's about the computer, which is ironic considering I'm an IT guy. But car computers, I just haven't taken the time to learn or mess with. So, um, jeez. So yeah, oh good, more ocean. Hopefully. Where am I? Z6185. Wow. Alright, so let's make another boat real quick. And oops, I'm gonna float on my bread. There we go. And off we go. Now, I do like to drive, but I end up just pretty much driving back and forth to work mostly. And I only work about 7 miles away, so it's a 14-mile round trip for me. So it takes a while to put 3,000 miles on a car. So my car, by the month, let's see, it's June, correct? Um, my car was due for an oil change back in February. So technically, I was 4 months overdue. However, mileage, I just went over the 3,000 mile mark and was like, I should probably get my oil changed. Uh, Now, I'm not saying that if it takes you a year to drive 3,000 miles, number one, why do you have a car? And number two, why do you have a car? But that oil is going to get old and it's going to get nasty and it's going to mess up your car. My first car was bad. I was 15 and my mom decided to buy me a car, and my stepdad was like, "Great, I'll help pick it out." And at the time, at 15, I thought my stepdad was like, you know, he was a good old boy. Let's put it that way. He knew about them kind of things, and no, he really didn't. But I didn't know any better. At that point in time, I wasn't even thinking about cars. I figured I was going to have to buy my own car. I never expected to have to buy that somebody was going to buy me a car. It was fantastic. So I didn't really care what they were getting me. It was whatever, bring it. So they tell me they find this car that's just awesome. It's an older car, but they're like, it's got really low miles on it. It's an older car. It's going to be safe for you, so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, what do we got? They go out and they purchase a 1979 Dodge Diplomat. And I think I've talked about this car before in one of my stories regarding jumping railroad tracks. I don't know what episode number it was, but it this car was a beast. It was a two-door, as big as most four-door sedans nowadays. Had a 318 V8 in it, or for those of you that want to sound cool, it had a 5.0. That's right, it was a 5.0 V8, 8-cylinder beast, baby. Um, It was a carbureted engine, meaning that, oh my God, look at all the wolves sitting right there on that tiny ass little island with the skeleton. Um, However, the carburetor for it was technically a two-barrel carburetor. To get the kind of performance one would like from a 5.0 V8 engine, you'd like a four-barrel carburetor, and hopefully a good one, like a Hemi. Um, no, this one was kind of it was barely a two-barrel. If anybody that knows about carburetors, if you looked at it, I've seen more sturdy and wonderful carburetors on um, lawnmowers. So I tweaked it the best I could. I didn't know enough about cars to change out the manifold or anything like that at the time. I did learn how to do that eventually. Anyways, my stepdad picked out this car. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't care though. It ended up being a great car. However, you know, he bought it. He wanted to buy it because of the mileage. Now, number one, it was a 1979 Dodge vehicle. It was driven by a little old man who put 33,000 miles on it. So this was in 1995 when my mother bought this car, and the car is a 79. It has 33,000 original miles, and you could tell it was original miles. And I just that's not good necessarily. That means the car sat a while, and it's not good for cars to sit either. So, is that just a little island? I think it was. So we I watched my stepdad do an oil change on it because it needed an oil change. I don't know how long that oil had sat. I don't know if it was the original oil in the car. I don't know if it was the original oil filter in the car. But those of you that know anything about cars and oil filters, you shouldn't have to remove it with a hammer. Oil filters are a cylindrical looking object with a rounded end normally. And when my stepfather was done pulling this thing out, it looked like an ice cream cone. I've never heard so many wonderful cuss words. It actually scared me a bit, so I hid inside for a while. But eventually he changed the oil in it, and the oil that came out of it looked. It's really hard to explain what it looked like a chunky stew. There shouldn't be chunks in your oil, folks. It was brown. Oil should be black. Well, bad old oil should be black. I've never heard of chunky brown oil. Let's just put it that way. Um, the oil's not black, technically. It's actually a very clearish type color almost, with a yellow orangish tint. Unless you go synthetic, then it gets redder. And anyways, it was just weird. Um, I'd never seen anything like it, and that's the car that taught me how to take care of vehicles. And are we coming up on more? Just okay, good. I don't have to get out of the boat yet. So yeah, great times. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording here for a bit and travel on because all I've talked about so far is oil changes, and we've just been in a boat the whole time. So I'm gonna stop, and I'll come back with you in a bit once I think I see something different. Okay? All right, guys. I have traveled for 3 days now. I think 3 Minecraft days, not 3 real life days, because holy crap! Um, and found a pit to hell. Oh, and an underground mine. Look at that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a quote unquote camp here for now, and take just a little bit of a break, and then I'll start it up again. I have a feeling it's going to be like at least a two-parter episode. So um, I claim this island in the name of Moo, and I've got some real-world things to do. So you'll see me right back here the next time. Okay, guys? So until then, be good.